our home in Acicatena. Next, we're going to make two very simple Sicilian dishes that actually Alfred got the recipes from his mother.
Yep, the recipes are the same, except the big secret over here is she used Hunt's tomato sauce. And what are we going to use in all our ingredients?
100% Sicilian products, including, by the way, our very own basil that we grow right here.
Look at this basil. Can you smell it? Yummy dum dum.
Okay, Alfred is going to make his pasta sauce and pasta, and I'm going to make some eggplant parmesan. Now remember, this is our kitchen. It's very small. We just hope that you can replicate these dishes in your home. So enjoy.
Ciao. Okay, today we're going to make one of my favorites that we use all the time. It's my quick Sicilian sauce. Let me show you exactly what we're going to use to get this little baby going here today. It takes about 20 or 25 minutes to start. The first thing you want to have is a posata. Posata, this is just a rustica posata that you buy in any market. Really, it's a little bit of a mulchy or crunchy type of sauce, but you could use your canned sauce. Please make sure it's says imported from Italy. That's one of the basic ingredients you're going to need. You're going to need a wonderful extra virgin olive oil, and we prefer the one from Trapani, from Patana, which is great. That's a wonderful thing to have. You're going to need 4 pieces of garlic that you can either slice very thinly like they did in Goodfellas, or you can crush, which I like to do. And by the way, when you get the garlic, please don't get the Chinese garlic in the stores that's already chucked. You don't want that. Then we've got some fresh basil that came from my garden. You're going to have a wonderful dry pasta. We're going to use the Poiati pasta from Mazzala d'Avallo. It's a great Durum semolina pasta. We've got of course we have our Parmigiano cheese. And for our oil, by the way, if you take the basil and you put it into a half-liter bottle, any kind of a bottle, and you leave the basil in there just a few days, guess what? You have a beautiful basil-infused oil that you could use. Or if you put in hot pepper flakes, you could have that too. For your spices, you need salt, pepper, that's sea salt. And then you need the rock salt, the crunchy ones later on for the pasta, and pepper flakes, and that's basically it. Okay, the first thing that you want to do is you want to put your EVOO, this is exactly 4 tablespoons in. You don't want to fill it up with too much oil. You just want to kind of coat the pan. Later on you're going to put a little bit more in. That's step 1. Step 2 is now we're going to work with this garlic here. Now, as I said, I like to crush it. So what I do, crush it. Crush it. Crush it. You know, Eszter likes the stuff. She does everything with this for almost all your recipes. I caught her yesterday. She was actually brushing her teeth with this stuff. But the health benefits of garlic are just like off the charts. You could crush it. You could use one of those grinders. I'm just kind of like chopping it up because actually when we eat it, when we make our sauce, we like to actually taste the garlic. All right, so the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to put in, cut it up, pasta, and this guy is going right into your pan. Right now, as you can see, the pan's not even on. See, there's no fire on the pan yet. Okay, so now we're going to put salt, a good pinch of salt, and then later on we'll season it to taste. We're going to use our black pepper, and then also we're going to use our red pepper flakes. And again, I like to use a little bit I like ours a little bit spicy. Now I'm going to light it up, so I have it on a medium heat. Okay, see that? Medium heat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these flavors melt for about 60 seconds. That's it, 60 seconds. Well, as soon as I see a little bit of activity over there, I'm going to put the posata in. Okay. I like also to put in some water into, don't want to waste any of the tomato sauce here, so I just kind of clean it out a bit. Okay. We have our spices in there. Now, once we do this, we're going to get our stirrer, and we're going to just fold it in just a bit. You know, next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our sugar. This comes compliments of Eden by Naci Trezza, but one packet is fine. This cuts the acidity now. The next thing you're going to do is get your basil. This is our fresh basil. You see now the bubbles are just coming up right now, so what we want to do is we want to get our basil in here. And we do it just like the old timers over here do it. They just kind of bunch it up. We have about 12 or 15 of these basil leaves. And zingo, zingo, zingo. Do-do-do-do. I love cutting basil up. The smell and the aromas are doing really fine right now. By the way, this simple sauce we're making, if you really wanted to, you could make zucchini, you can make eggplant, and later on we're going to make an eggplant. You can make onion with this. Actually, the vegetables that you could put into these quick sauce are literally endless. Of course, in Sicily, the national dish in Catania is called norma, pasta alla norma. And except the difference is instead of finishing and garnishing with Parmigiano cheese, a norma is garnished with the ricotta salata cheese, which is the hard ricotta that you shave on it. Once the bubbles come up, we're going to put this heat down and we're going to let it simmer for about 20 or 25 minutes until the consistency is thick. But the bubbles are just coming up. Not enough bubbles though. We need a few more bubbles. Okay? You can hear them. They're starting to pop. They're saying, "Ooh, this is so good. This is so good." And in a couple of minutes, we're just going to shut it down a little bit on the flame. Let me just stir it up one more time. Now, as my mom always taught me, Alfred, you can never put too much olive oil. So this is, I like to put my name, Alfred Zappola, on the top. And of course, a little dabble do ya, a little bit more salt. Okay, so now it's been about 10 minutes and the flavors have all melted together, but now you want to give it a taste. And remember, my mom is right here on my shoulder today, so we're going to go over here and taste. First, we're going to give it a stir, because you don't want to burn it. And then we're going to give it a quick taste. You can see, by the way, how it's nice and getting nice and thick and juicy and, oh my God. Yes, Mom. Yes, Mom. A little bit more EVOO. So I'm going to put a little bit more, so a few drops more, and basta. And in about 10 minutes, Mom, guess what? Your sauce is going to be ready. So we'll come back in 10 minutes. Okay, now it's been about 25 minutes. Look how this beautiful it is. We've got our red pepper flakes. We have our basil. We have our garlic, our salt and pepper, and our posata. Look at this. So now we have to get our pasta ready. So we're going to take this, put this here, let it stew and simmer, put our flame up high, and now we're going to get our water. And we're going to bring our water to the boil. We need your sea salt. The coarse sea salt is what I prefer. We have actually a kilo worth of pasta. We're going to actually use half of that pasta. We're going to make about 1 pound. You need to have a school of pasta or a colander there, and you need to have a ladle because we're going to reserve 2 ladlefuls of water into another pan. So we have another pan on standby. And what you have to do is when it starts to boil, you want to put in rocks. If you can see these this isn't the fine salt. Okay, we're going to put them about half a bag in, roughly 1 pound. We're going to cook this pasta al dente, which means to the teeth, because we'll finish cooking it in this other pan with the sauce in about 5 or 6 minutes. Okay, 6 minutes later, this is al dente. Perfecto. First thing you're going to do, take 2 ladles of water, the pasta water, in this pan sitting over here. Step 1. Step 2, we're going to strain the pasta. And then we're going to put this guy right on the water. And now we're putting the pasta in the water. And now we're going to ladle some sauce. You don't have to bury it in the sauce. What we're going to do is cook this for 5 more minutes. We're going to let the water cook the rest of the pasta, and the sauce will get put into the pasta. I know you New York folks call it gravy, but I'll call it gravy because I like you New York folks. And now I put in just enough right now, and for the next few minutes I'm going to actually stand over the stove a bit until the water burns off. Mix it all up so everything is red. Operative here is red. It's 6 minutes later. The water is burnt off. All you do is push the pasta aside. This baby is done. Shut it off. Basta, as they say. Now we're going to ladle it out. Of course, in Europe, we have a smaller plate. We put 125 grams of pasta in here, not 200 or 250 grams. And for the benefit of my New York friends, I'm ladling here a little bit more sauce for you. This guy's just about ready to go. I'm going to make it kind of look pretty here, putting a couple of pieces of fresh basil here as a little surprise. 3 pieces. And then a little bit of parmesan, the real McCoy. Of course, you could use the ricotta salata, as I'm saying. Get yourself a fork. Let me see how it tastes. Sende me, questo è buono, buono, buono. That's how you make a Sicilian quick sauce. Hope you enjoyed it.
Now it's my turn to play in the kitchen. First, I'm going to put on my apron. Cucina di Eszter. Alfred got me this last year at a festa in Valverde. All right, so I love when Alfred makes his famous Sicilian scrumptious sauce because there's always leftover and I get to put it on my favorite things. So one of the things I like to do is bake zucchini and onions, but today we're going to make a quick emphasis on quick melanzane or eggplant. Now listen to this that I learned at the Marchetto yesterday. Did you know that there's a male and a female eggplant? Yes, and apparently one of them is more bitter than the other. The way to tell is by the indentation in the bottom. The male one also has less seeds than the female one, which apparently makes it less bitter. Okay, so that's something I learned. All right, first thing we're gonna do is get a pan ready, put some aluminum foil on there, and cut up the melanzane about 1/4 of the size. I think actually this is a female one because of all the seeds in it. Drizzle just a little bit of olive oil so it doesn't stick to the bottom. Next, we're gonna put these guys on here. A little bit of salt, pepper, and another dash of EVOO. Put it in the oven for 20 minutes. Okay, 15 to 20 minutes. These babies are just about done. Okay, now we're going to take Alfred's famous Sicilian sauce and put a little bit on there. Dollop here, a dollop there. And you know, I like to put just a little bit and then put the bottom of your ladle, even it out like this. The fresh garlic, you can see the garlic on there, the delicious basil. Okay, now a little bit of cheese. It's gonna melt and be a little bit crunchy. It's going to be so delicious. I love to put this on my salad. Alfred likes to put it in a sandwich, but really you can also put it on the pasta. Okay, we'll put it back in there for about 5 minutes. Minutes later, they look absolutely perfect. A little bit bubbly. Okay, now for the presentation. We are going to put a little bit more sauce on the bottom. Spread it out a little bit more. Just so the bottom sops up just a little bit more of this delicious sauce. Gently put it on the plate. These came out nice and soft. Perfecto. Nice and even. And now for a little bit of garnish, fresh basil. This, my friends, is a quick, emphasis on quick, eggplant parmesan. I hope you enjoyed watching this episode because I had a lot of fun making it.
I had a great time eating the stuff too.
Best part of it for me is going to the market, getting the fresh ingredients, and some of it we grow right here, like the basil and the red pepper flakes.
Yep, we have all the stuff, even the rosemary out front.
Delicious.
Absolutely.
Okay, next cooking episode, we're going to make caponata with my friend Vanessa. But by the way, all episodes of You, Me, and Sicily are at www.evazmediagroup.com. We're also on Facebook, You, Me, and Sicily. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.
Thanks for watching.